My name's Darren. I'm a business development and key account manager with Metro Glass. I also, though, heavily involved in technical support, and I've been with them for 10 years. Metro Glass has been out there for 36 years, and we have 12 branches around or nationwide, and we also have 3 manufacturing plants, so we've got a total national network there. And we do most things in construction glass, and really that's all that slide says. All that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So we're NK Windows.
Much less words.
Less words. Just one big picture. A fresh new building. Very proud of it. NK Windows is probably one of the oldest PVC window makers in New Zealand. We've been around now for 23 years. And wife and I bought the business about 10 years ago and kind of blew a bit of air into it. So we manufacture, install and service only new PVC windows, almost nationwide now. So Christchurch here is our main factory in Wigram, sales offices in Cromwell in the lower North Island now. About a 3,000 square metre factory, so we can churn out somewhere around about 10,000 windows a year out of that factory. And we're running at about half that speed at the moment. So we put the money in at the front end ahead of the building code changes that are coming along. So we're kind of ready to fly, really. We bring our profiles in from one of the big 6 out of Europe. Our supplier is Aviplast, and then we build to order here in New Zealand using a mixture of glass, some of your stuff. Full product range, inwards and outwards opening windows, 3 or 4 different sliders, bifolds, all the normal range of windows and doors that you would expect to see in a Kiwi home. So that's us. We moved into our new facility middle of last year, and we're now settled into it and ready to roll. Bob almost segued into this, but yeah, that's why windows are important in case there's any doubt. Somewhere between 30 to 50% of the heat loss in a traditional build going out through your windows, and actually glass probably has the biggest single impact on the performance of that window. The frame certainly helps, and then where you stick it in a wall, as we'll talk about in a minute, it's really an easy win. So we'll kind of talk a little about all those kind of 3 areas, and I'll hopefully segue you in shortly for your bit.
That's fine.
Ready when you are. So I guess I talk a little about frames in terms of materials, the 3 traditional materials: aluminium, wood, PVC, and just as a comparison of kind of where they sit on the continuum, and to put kind of that line there around thermally broken aluminium in context. So with the final phase of this round of the kind of increases in the New Zealand building codes, moving R values up to about 0.5, the aluminium thermally broken windows, double glazed, just sneak in. And to put that in, and I think Dan's words were very timely as well. If you compare, the climate zone in Balclutha to the climate zone in Southampton, they're absolutely identical in terms of rain, hot, cold, wind, whatever. Their R value requirements in that part of the world are already up over 0.7, heading towards 0.8 in their building code. So even this current step up to 0.5 is kind of going halfway to where we need to be in a similar climate zone on the other side of the world, right? So we've still got a long way to go. And I guess the really good news is none of that technology needs to be invented. It's all here in the world. It's just a matter of rolling it out whenever everybody's ready. And I guess the real highlight for me over the last kind of 2 years has been government finally pushing the regulatory lever. And yep, it's not hard enough, and it needs to be more, but it's a good start. And we do a little bit of work inside MBIE and the Window Association as well, trying to continue that. So we're going to see very soon PVC window frames in the building code as a standard detail rather than just an alternative solution. And there's also a lot of good work going into some standard recess frame details going into the building code. Right? So this is just a normal standard solution now. It's not an alternative, it's not weird, it's not some foreign thing that was happening in Europe 40 years ago. It's actually just part of the building code. And the really good thing about that, as far as I'm concerned, is actually driven by science. It's not marketing, it's not sales, it's not something happening over there, it's just physics. So that's all the good news. you can see from that as soon as we start pushing beyond about 0.5, the aluminium guys are going to be starting to get really challenged, right? They've got to do a lot of work on their thermal break. They're probably going to have to go towards triple glazing. And at that point, you're going to start to see PVC and aluminium. At the moment, there's a bit of a PVC premium because it's largely, or it is almost all imported. And you'll start to see those kind of costs balance up. And that's the point at which you'll start to see the market tipping towards more thermally efficient frames. So the next few years is going to be kind of a bit of a watch this space. A little bit in terms of the future, and come down and just have a look at the stand if you've got a few minutes. But this is kind of state of the art in terms of where the European market is at the moment. So in a traditional PVC frame, you'll see some steel reinforcing in the centre of that frame. That, of course, doesn't help in terms of cooling the frame. This technology is in car-extruded fiberglass fins, foam-filled cores, deeper glazing pockets, which means that you can put better glass, high-spec glass, deep, thicker air gaps into the frames, and start pushing R values up above the 1.5. That's 3 times the current code. That technology is rolling out in Europe now. It's not difficult. So yeah, pop by the stand in the back there, and we've got a wee cross section there, and we'll be displaying some windows at the Passive Institute Hui next week. Yeah. So with that, yep, that's for well used button.
So the point of that's actually triple glazing in that house. That was recently done in Queenstown. It's a double low E triple glazing. A lot of money involved in there. But what we're trying to do in amongst that is also, to me, performance should be accessible to anyone that's building. So although you will have high performance windows and expensive systems, we can actually tailor to fit a budget. So you don't always have to be aiming for the top. The point is, we want to continually keep on building on the quality that's out there. Again, I've been actually warned by Bob, there's too many words on these slides, so I actually did, there's only a couple of points that we need to really make here is that with H1, and I do believe the Superhome movement has had something to do with that, we hardly ever had people asking us about low E and the U values of glass. Now it's become a necessary conversation because they have a target they need to hit. So we just hope that continues. We've invested a lot of money in the plant because as the technology in the glass increases, so too does the quality of the machinery and the processing skills that are required in the factory. And the other thing that's invested in there is, again, we're spending a lot of money on customer support too and technical ability. No point in having the gear there and no idea. Again, all I'm asking there is really when you're talking about triple glazing and people are talking to you about where things are positioned, we've got 6 faces in a triple glazing panel. Surface 1 is always on the outside. I was just asked to sort of give a bit of a brief on this. So surface 1 is always on the outside, and the purpose of me telling you this will come clear in another moment. But so it goes surface 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pretty straightforward, with 6 always being on the inside of the house. In terms of the data that we get, when you have, first of all, I'd like to say that when you're using triple glazing, there are other advantages to it, but in terms of U value, if you're using a single low E triple glazed unit, some of the double glazed high performance is actually right up there with the performance of that single low E triple glazing. When you get into the double low E's, that's when the magic happens, and that is becoming more and more used in the market. We're doing, in fact, most of our triple glazing now is double low E. What then comes in is, and again I won't go too much detail, but I've got a stand over there if you want to talk about it on there. Quite often people are either wanting lots of insulation, but they're also wanting to get passive heat gain. One of the topics that's going to come out as houses get more efficient is also overheating of homes, which is being touched upon today. By positioning the low E in another way, you can actually lower the amount of heat coming in. So you can actually stop the heat coming, and it's a thing called solar control. Now, what we've done, because as I say, you can go down the rabbit hole really easy with the data and all that, and some people want to do that, and some people just want simplified messaging. So we've actually come out with, this is the first launch of this triple glazing messaging, if you like, which is you can have solar heat control with high natural light, because the other component that comes in, and some people want lots of light, some people want privacy. You can have passive heat gain, so you want more heat into the house and you want light, or you can have solar control, you don't want the heat in and you want a bit more privacy and that tint effect. And so on the table there again, we've got those sitting there, and we just think it's another tool to help people make decisions more easily, because it was said earlier on that when things get too hard, people avoid the subject or move on. We're trying our best to avoid that, and that's what the essence of why we've developed this. In terms of, again, lots of words, Bob, won't use them all, but we are doing things like nearly 99% of the glass that's in our factory that gets scrapped, and in a glass factory quite a bit of glass does get scrapped because it's a fragile product, goes back to a company called 5R, so it's recycled. We're also building on our environmental product declarations, and the products that are in our IGUs there's different ways of measuring things, but we use the red list free declare label. So again, we're trying our best to do our part in that, and we acknowledge and accept and are working on the carbon embodiment with the products as well. So with that said, any questions, come and see me. Other than that, I'm going to hand it over to Martin, the better looking of the peers.
Fantastic, thank you. And I can attest to what Darren says in terms of the glass conversation. I've probably spent about half my time in the showroom with people that are trying to build above code, talking about the glass. And we've been using triple glazing for most of the time that we've been in business. And with no disrespect to the glass company, sometimes triple glazing has been a bit of a challenge in terms of getting what we wanted out of those companies. But boy, there's been a real change in the last 2 years. Real change in terms of both the technology, the understanding of it, the support for it, the willingness to do it, rather than just typical double glazing that we're all used to. And the range of options, I kind of usually say to people, once you step beyond kind of double glazing in a single coat that way, you really need to start having a good conversation around thermal modelling, because overheating and other issues start to become way bigger factors. So yeah, talk to professionals, these guys do a great job. The last piece of it really, and Chris touched on, is the installation. And I mean, the good news in this space is there's a lot of work going on inside MBOE to come up with a standard recessed install detail for both aluminium frames and PVC as standard. And kind of our experience with this and the modelling that we've done says, yeah, there's somewhere between a 15 to 18% gain in thermal performance just by pulling that frame back into the frame line and surrounding that window with warm walls, so it's not cooling all down. And that has a flow-on effect, not just into the frame, but into the glass as well. That's actually an easy win. It's a little bit of design detail, but it's not that difficult. It's not really rocket science. So yeah, that's us on Windows. I'll just pause there, and I don't know if there's going to be any questions at all on anything.
We will be there out the back anyway.
We'll